Heavenly Father, we thank you for this privilege, this opportunity. We just come to you and we ask that you would speak to our hearts in the name of Jesus. Amen. Most of you know who this horse is. This is Tahana. Tahana is the very first passel I ever rode in my entire life. And, you can stand. And so our relationship goes back 4 years now? 5 years, I think, this year. And when I first got on her, I didn't know what in the world I had under me. Carly and I took off, and we were supposed to leave the trail. We didn't know we were going to have our own trail because we couldn't slow either of them down. And when people first saw me ride Tahana, some of them were afraid of her because she was very speedy. But Tahana probably has the most gentle spirit of almost any horse that I myself have owned or have ridden here. And I thought probably she was done teaching me for a while because, as most of you can tell, she's a little out of commission. She's due to foal any day. And of course I was anxious to see her. Carly told me they'd put her inside here. So I came down. And one thing about Tahana, when she hears my voice, she always snaps her head up and her ears up, look at where I'm at. And it doesn't matter where she's at, if she's out in the pond or where she is. So I stepped inside the door and I called her name and her head came up instantly. But that wasn't the lesson we're going to talk about today, because she taught me something and I almost was in tears when I realized what happened. The other white one, where's yours? The other one that's been running loose is Carly's, and the two of them are very best friends. And they love to ride together. Tahana did not understand when she was about, 5 or 6 months pregnant? Carly brought Birdie in and went for a ride, and Tahana was standing at the wall pawing and knitting and going, I want to go too, why can't I ride? So I thought, well, we'll just let her run loose, because I didn't want to hurt her. Well, that wasn't good enough. She wouldn't keep up with her, and she came back. And she made it very clear to all of us, and Carly started laughing at her, she wanted to ride. And so it was interesting, because I got on her, and of course she didn't have very much endurance. We went about 2 rounds, and she was, so she was tired. And normally she's zipping around here. But you see, when I came this week, she wanted to be with Birdie. And her and Birdie love each other. But Tahana has got manners. And so her manners come more important than what she wants. And it really struck me. You see, they were tied at the wall, and Carly went and untied Birdie, and I didn't untie Tahana right away. And Tahana made it very clear, I want to be with Birdie, get over here. So I went over to let her loose. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever tried to let a horse loose that really wants not to be there right now, they don't always think about you, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? So I was ready to kind of get out of the way, or she threw her head or something. Little did I know what she was going to do. And it really gave me a lesson for my own life. Instead of causing a ruckus, she turned to me and waited for me to untie the halter. And in her eyes, I know it took 5 times longer than it was supposed to, because she wanted to be with Birdie. She never moved. And then she kept moving her head, so I couldn't get the nose piece off of her right away, and she kept sticking her nose back through it instead of letting me take it off. But she never moved. She stood quietly, and she waited, and she waited. And even after I took it off of her, she stood there waiting for me to tell her, it's okay, you can go now. She was very respectful. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I get impatient with God. He's promised something, or there's something out in front of me, and I'm asking him, what are you doing? Why is it taking so long? Or what if you're under pressure? Are you still being an ambassador for Christ? Are you remembering the manners that God has taught you? Are you remembering how to treat people even when you're under pressure? Tahana proved to me that she knows. She was thinking about me before she was thinking about what she was doing. And she waited. She waited patiently. She didn't fuss. She didn't cause a fit. Are you waiting on God? Are you acting towards everyone in your life the way Jesus would, even if they irritate you? I flunk at that. I don't do very good. Some days I might. But I haven't arrived. I want to be more like him every day, but I don't always make it. Are you? I challenge you to remember who you are in Christ before anything else in your life. Just like Hannah remembered her manners and that she was submissive to me before she was anything else. Father, we thank you for this lesson. We ask that you would seal it into our hearts in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, would the ones that are supposed to handle the horses please come? Will you bring Birdie up next to her? We're going to show you some differences with some breeds. Tahana standing next to me. Hold on, I'm going to pick her up. I have to show patience for Corey too, not just me. I have to remind you that's also another lesson. I can do almost anything I want with Tahana. I just about hang underneath of her to groom her and stuff. And last year I wasn't doing so well physically and I handed off a brush. And I had currently had my head and half my body under her hanging on. This person walked up to her with the brush. And she about had a heart attack on the spot. She knows who I am. Do you know who Jesus is? Do you know to listen for his voice? So I can't say that she'll do it for every one of you out there like she did me. But she knows who I am. She took care of me many times. We got the rest of you guys coming? These two are Paso Finos. We have a lot of Paso Finos here. Birdie is actually probably one of the biggest ones we have here, I believe. Tahana's about average. Those of you that have seen me ride Monarch, she's about this tall. And I didn't think I should ride her. Corley told me to ride her the first time, and I thought, good grief, she's little. But I wasn't prepared because how many times do we mistake something by size? God says he knows our hearts, and that's what I needed to find out. Monarch could probably outrun any of these here. But anyway, the Pasos have a special gait, which means that they move in a special way. They have what's called a 4-beat gait, which means the back foot on one side and then the front foot on that side, back foot on the other side, front foot on the other side. So they move the feet on the same side first, which is called lateral gait. And it's very, very smooth. And the problem is, I didn't know when I rode Tahana that Corley gave me the Cadillac of the Paso Finos. And I was so spoiled because I can ride Tahana as fast as she can gait and I never move. She is probably the smoothest Paso I have ridden here. Then she had me riding other ones and I thought it was just Pasos, and I found out, no, it's Hana. Most of them are smooth, but as the one you saw, that wasn't the best example, she is not smooth. I think she will smooth out, but they're very smooth and they can go various speeds. Most of these two can keep up with a regular horse in a lope with their fast gait. In fact, Birdie's been known to break into a lope to keep up with Tahana, but then Tahana tries it, and Tahana's been trained, I think, for a show ring, and she thinks she's going quite fast, but she has such a collected lope, it's almost like going backwards. You're not moving very much. So these are Paso Finos, and if you look at them, they're narrow on the front. Tahana has to wear pony tack. She has a pony breast collar, and I still have to wrap it around because it's too big. And some people think, well, they're just really wimpy and they're not very strong. I started reading up on them. And they said that their knees and their bones are like donkey bones. They're very, very strong. And because of that and their gait, they actually carry a higher percentage of weight than other horses because you're not bouncing on their back. They're very smooth, but they're very, very strong. And if you ever watch me ride Monarch, you'll believe it. Because that little horse can zip around here faster, I think, than Tahana ever has even. And they all thought she was fast. But she's kind of slowed down a little bit because she's expecting a baby any day, which we're all excited about. Let me give her to Coralie. I think you're going to have to hold her. She does not know Corey, so she's kind of smart mom. You can try. She was tossing her head around.
You want us to move back and away?
Yeah. If she'll stand, Corey, that's fine. It's not you. Tahana's just very sensitive sometimes.
Didn't spoil her, Ellen.
Not you. You better stay with her, Coralie.
I'll go over here.
Okay. This is Oda. Oda is a Norwegian fjord. If you look at Oda, you can see a little bit of difference. What's the difference between her and the two that just walked away from here? Anybody tell me? She's broad. Look at her chest. It's about 1.5 of Tahana's, maybe 2. Her legs are thick. Look at her feet, how big they are. Her butt's big. She's just huge all over. They are called a small draft horse. They originated in Norway, and they have a very gentle personality. Well, the other thing with the Pasos is they're extremely, extremely sensitive. You change something, they know it now. You raise your voice at them, they act like you slapped them. So you have to be very firm and gentle with them. I love it because they learn really fast. Oda is very, extremely gentle. We put her under kids, and she's kind of come into her own, and they're very, very strong. And they love people. All I can remember is they use them for drafts, so they're very versatile. They use them to pull, they use them to ride. So, and that's Oda. You want to bring Sophia? Early 15?
15, 16, yeah.
About 15. The two Pasos are 21 and 22, correct? And they act like they're 5. They rip. Everybody laughs if we get on them together, because those two go in sync. If you turn, they turn together just like one. This is Sophia. Sophia is also a rescue horse. For those of you that don't know, we've rescued many horses from the kill pens. When Sophia came, she was a rack of bones, and then when she got off the trailer, the guy told Coralie, I don't know if this horse is even going to make it. And Coralie sent me a picture, and she said, I don't know if she's going to make it either. It took Sophia several months, and it was over a year before I actually rode her, and then they found out when she got her weight on, she was no slow little thing either. In fact, she was so speedy, they thought maybe that she wasn't going to work here. She is a Peruvian Paso, and the Peruvian Pasos also gait similar to the Paso Finos. However, their front feet paddle out, and it's called terminal. So if you watch them coming at you, you see their front feet going to the outside. Sophia is normally my mount, and she too can be very speedy. The first time I rode her, we did the equivalent of 4 trails out there, and she was just getting started. And now she has calmed down. I can rip her around maybe 1 or 2 rounds and just drop the reins, and she'll just stand here. So very, very quiet, very gentle, very sensitive. We took her to the horse fair a few years ago, along with Coralie's favorite, who's in the back pen. And her horse, every time something moved, even if it was mouse size, all 4 feet came off the floor. He was terrified of everything. Well, we found out she was scared too, but she internalized it and she wouldn't eat. It took us a day or 2 to figure it out. And she's not skittery on the trail, and I don't think Pat Casero is either, is he? No. Although he hates her, but Sophia is, she's a really good lead horse. She moves out, and she's amazing. She also is smooth. The Peruvians are supposed to be even smoother than the Pasafinos, and she is very smooth. I haven't found anybody that really has surpassed Tahana, but she's close. And Monarch is close. And then we have, bring Jazzy and Ed up here, please. These two are called Missouri Foxtrotters. And also I was going to point out on the Peruvian, you notice that she too is very narrow. She too wears a pony breast crown. And we have the saddle that I use with her at Tahana. We have like a 22-inch or 24-inch cinch. These two are Missouri Foxtrotters, and they are also gaited. However, their gait is, you know, with a regular trot, you take the diagonal legs together for a trot, and it's 2 beat. When they do it, one foot hits the ground before the other. They're diagonal, but they don't hit the ground at the same time, so they too are smooth. It's very different than the Pasofino gait, but they're smooth. And these two are have been really amazing here at the ranch. I think Jazzy was one of the first horses Coralie got, so she's probably the one of them that's been here the longest. And Ed is a new addition a couple years ago, and he's made his own way here. There's a lot of people love Ed. He's pretty amazing. He's extremely well broke. Very well broke. He was used on trails, and once in a while he plays hard to catch, but he doesn't want to miss out on anything either. So
You catch him by pretending he's not pretty.
yeah, that's what Joy told me too. She said he was going to walk away, and she said, well, I don't really want you, and walked away from him, and he followed her. One day he wouldn't come to me either, and I wasn't even trying to catch him, and all of a sudden I caught Thunder, and he wasn't so sure about that either, so Coralie caught him. So some of the breeds are very different. You're used to the quarter horses, the Appaloosas. They're much heavier. They're not quite as heavy as Oda, but they're very heavy, and the gaited horses tend to be a little bit lighter breed. But they're, Coralie and I love them because, of course, Coralie has a bad back, and I have too, and it's a very different gait. And I found out that it actually moves different. You know, if you ride the other horses, it's your low back that's getting worked pretty hard. When you ride the gaited horses, it's right up between your shoulder blades. You're going to feel it if you're out gaiting for a long time. So there's quite a bit of difference in how they work your body. They're all very gentle. We're blessed to have many breeds here. We have several more outside, but we just did kind of a mini one because some of you people that are new, you come in and you think the horses are skinny. They're not skinny, they're just not quarter horses and Appaloosas. We don't want, I mean, Tahana is obviously fat, but she's got a big baby in there. So, but they're not meant to be nearly as hefty as those breeds. So don't think they're skinny just because they look different. And it's the same with us. All of us are very different builds. But we don't want to be looked at for what we look like. We want to be looked at for our hearts, right? That's what they want too. Check out their hearts. The Passos have stolen my heart, kind of like Coralie's nose. It's all her fault. I never ridden one before I came here, but they're so sensitive and so gentle. But they're all amazing. Horses are amazing creatures. So that's our parade of breeds. Thank you.